2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Road, going faster miles an hour. Gonna drive past the Stop and Shop with the radio on and the neon when it's cold outside.
All right, so I'll start over here. This guy's got a thing for Morgans. He's got a bunch of these Morgans. I've seen a couple of them. There's a little TR3, so y'all know that's got my heart. See a Lotus 7, like a real Lotus 7. Okay, so here we go. We got a Morgan. I'm sure this is a +4. +4, yeah. Okay, so wooden framed Morgan, 4-cylinder, beautiful car. Triumph TR3. This was when my mother was in college. A friend of hers had a Triumph, and this was their college car. Driving around little town, they had a Triumph. Just like, you know, when I was in high school, I had my little MG. But I mean, this was their car. This is their little Triumph. Very similar to what they had. This is a later series Triumph. You can tell by the grille. Shortly after, they would move on. Now, the TR was a faster series than the MGAs, but the MGA, I just think it's a better. I think the MGA is a better looking car. I think that the doors on the Triumph are a bit sort of violent. And don't get me wrong, that's a Triumph and MG kind of thing. So some people like the Triumph doors. I just think the MG is a better looking car, the MGA. We have another Lotus Elan, beautiful handling little car. Got a series of Lotuses here. I'm excited to look over. We've got a little Elan convertible here. This is sort of their entry. Lotus is already the British company, but this was their entry into the series of cars like the Morgan, the Triumph, Lotus Elan, the Lotus Europa here, which is reportedly one of the best handling cars on the road. It's a mid-engined 4-cylinder. So yeah, the Rally British wheels, mid-engined 4-cylinder Lotus. Let's see if this is a twin cam. We don't want to open it up. Europa Special. Is it a twin cam? I don't know, but you know, this was another fair, just like the Ferrari. They call this the bread van for obvious reasons. Okay, so we'll get a little shot of the engine. It is a twin cam. See those two cams side by side, and it's got these Stromberg carburetors there. The little pots look like SUs, but they're more shallow. You can see they're the Stromberg. So it's very light hood here. A lot of trunk space for a mid-engine car, I must say. So I really liked the Europa. The problem is it had a lot of, you know, people say, oh, would you do an engine swap? It's got a lot of room, but you can't really. It's got a lot of, the engine mounts are actually designed as part of this, of the handling. So if you remove the engine mounts and rebore them, you're going to lose the handling of the car. So the only way the Europa works is with that tiny little engine, but he does have the twin cam. What I would do if it were my car is I would take off the Stromberg carburetors, which are spotty at best, and I would probably machine in some double Webers, so you could at least get the extra kick of the dual Webers with the twin cam engine. That's about the best you could do with souping up a Europa, is get the twin cam, and even to do the machine work to convert it, the exhaust manifold to Webers is a lot of work from what I've researched, because I am such a loser that I do sit up and research converting Lotus Europa from Stromberg to Webers. And we have another, this is a Lotus Elite, little hardtop. Just a beautiful little car. And again, this would be another, just handle phenomenally. The chassis would be so tight. Being a hardtop, there would just be no canter in the body, and it would just snap to. So you've got 3 Lotuses in a row here. The Elan, Europa, Elite, and the original Lotus 7. When you wanted a car that was just as bare as you could get, with no added frills, light, tight handling, you get the Lotus 7. You got British good looks, Lotus handling, Lotus race car handling, and that's all you get, man. sort of get something you can stick on it as a roof, but really, this is sort of what Lotus is still about with the cars like the Elise. It's still the most pure driving experience you can have. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people claim that, but I mean, when you drive a Lotus, you are driving a go-kart for the road. Really, it's the best you can do. Jaguar with its hood open, see where that turn signal is. That would make it, see if I'm right, I'm guessing it's a Series 2. Or, see that? Series 2. And here's how you tell. See where the turn signal is, as we talked about before. It doesn't look like it was stuck in as an afterthought. It's actually up in front, underneath the headlight. And you've got a blinker there on the side. But remember, on the Series 1, you've got right there, light just stuck in almost as an afterthought. Series 1 versus a Series 2. Can't go wrong with a little Fiat 124 Spider, and this has got to be early 70s because it's still got the metal bumpers. When they came to America, they had to put those awful 5-mile-an-hour bumpers on, so 73, yeah. So a lot of these European cars, you see the era of the metal bumpers, the bumperettes here on the back. It's called bumperettes because it's not a full bumper. It's two little parts, two little bumpers, two bumperettes. And on the front, you've got a nice wooden dash. This was Fiat's answer to the MGB. Drove more or less the same, but it's a little snappier, a little handling. It had a twin cam engine. It would go a little bit quicker. It would do a lot of things the MGB wouldn't. It was just, MG was more of a static tourer, and the Fiat was a bit more fun, more toss it around. Big 6 Austin Healey 3000 Mark II. Big inline 6, powerful car. These were, back in the day, they weren't as revolutionary as the Jaguars and Aston Martins with their handling. They were still really incredible cars. This whole line right here is, I'm really falling in love with it, and I don't know that I'm going to leave. There's some woods over there. Maybe I can hide out, but the cars are going to be on here soon. We have an MGA twin cam, and I swear, I stick by it. I think it's a better looking car than the TR3. I'm not going to argue which car is better. I just think I like the lines on this one. But this has got the twin cam, which is more rare, meaning two side-by-side cams. Most MGs have just the single cam, like my Midget, like most Bs. They're single cam engine. I'm rambling on to myself. So, as you can see, you've got the pontoon fenders there. You know, they'll just look at like two pontoons, two boat pontoons. And you don't see that anymore. Mercedes-Benz Pagoda. It's called a 280, 2.8 liter SL. This was the follow-up to the 190 SL. Beautiful little car. My father had one. And the Pagoda was just a really great little sports car. Oh, you feel that German engineering when you pop the door. I mean, it's just ka-tunk, ka-tunk, ka-tunk. Gotta be careful, I don't want to slam this Mercedes door into this Alfa Romeo car here. Thin gear shift, very German, very Spartan. But man, what a great handling little car. Ah, you don't know how good that sounds. Just see if you can hear it. Ah, just the thunk. Now we have a Giulietta, early 60s Sprint Sport. I mean, just incredible. Look at this car. Alfa Romeos are my new thing. You know, I go through phases, but I'm really heavy in an Alfa phase, and you can sort of see why. Just a snappy little car. Of course, you won't get that same thunk from this. Alfa Romeo at Watkins Glen, 2005. No, it's much more loose, the door handle. See, it's got those woolen rugs. Let's see what it sounds like. Yeah. you know, you slam an Alfa Romeo door, it's not going to be like a Mercedes door. It's going to not slam right, and then the lights aren't going to work. We've got our little Nash. Here you go, America. Metropolitan 1500. Keeping us in there. My uncle had a Nash Metropolitan. Alfa Romeo. Mercedes Pagoda. MGA. Austin Healey 3000. Fiat. Oh, that Firebird got in there. That's not what you normally see. It's a 6-cylinder though. So we have a 6-cylinder Firebird. Looks like it anyway. Yeah. So it's what is an inline 6 doing in a Firebird? But yeah, it's factory inline 6. So that's interesting. Look, see, back in the day, if you had to change out the timing, just pop off those 2 bolts. Right? I mean, just look how easy these cars were to work on. You can get to everything. Again, here's the series. Inline 6, yeah, I didn't know what the hell I was looking at. I had Studebaker Champion. My father was a big Studebaker guy. Really interesting lines. The very unique designs on Studebaker. See that nose bomb grill? Back to this goldfish bowl back seat. Just the panorama there, it looks like a turret. It almost looks like it always looked to me like it's driving backwards, and I'll try and get at a better angle. So you can see this car looks like it would drive backwards. You know, if the front end weren't so phenomenal looking, you could always turn around and drive it backwards. We have a Mille Miglia car. This is a Jaguar Mark 7. I had to get over and see that. So this is a pretty rare, but so this car was in the Mille Miglia. It looks like this car itself was in the Mille Miglia. I can't really. 2011, the Mille Miglia 1,000-miler in Italy. You see, you get these stamps. You drive the car in the Mille Miglia, and Stefano Ricci drove it. And you drive it through the Italian countryside as fast as you can against other people who are all driving cars with terrible brakes from the 50s that are insanely valuable, hurtling to an uncertain future and a Roman breakfast. So I am trying to keep my mask on. I may, you know, this is the kind of thing where you could end up with COVID. We're out in rural Indiana, so it's not as bad out here, but it's still everywhere. I understand this is a foolish risk to take, but come on. We'll gauge the risk by how it ends up in the next 3 days. I get sick, maybe it was worth it. Things get really bad, maybe it wasn't. But this is just a phenomenal car collection. And I think that everybody here is being careful, doing our best not to be stupid. Everybody's got masks on, everybody's social distanced. We're, you know, outside or indoors in a large area. It's an unfortunate reality, but we're doing the best we can to try and keep safe as we are. This is Citroen SM. This is a weird car. It was Citroen just purchased Maserati, and around the time this car came out, the Maserati Bora came out, late 1970s, early 70s, and everything was done by hydraulics. So the brakes, the steering wheel coming back and forth, it was all done by hydraulic fluid. You had hydraulic fluid for everything. And of course the brakes were hydraulic, but what I mean is whether the steering wheel extension and whether the brakes came towards you or went away, not just whether or not the brakes worked. So this is a Maserati technology. You can see it actually says Maserati on the engine. It's a Maserati engine. 4.7 liter V8 Maserati engine in a French designed body. And there's that incredible hydraulic system there with all the different fluids and all. Very, very odd setup. A lot of people have bemoaned it, but there it is. See the massive hydraulic lines going all over the car because they control so much of how the car is run. There's a beautiful little Alfa Romeo Giulietta. See that grille? What an incredible grille. See that Pininfarina there on the Pininfarina on the dash. See the F? Here we have a Fiat Abarth. There's Bertoni. Abarth is kind of like the Italian Carroll Shelby. He souped up cars. He preferred rear-wheel drive. Rear-wheeled engines, I'm sorry, which are clearly rear-wheel drive, but these rear-wheeled engines, he would soup them out, put big cams and sport up the engines, raise the horsepower, make them incredibly light inside. So this is an A50 Abarth, I think. This is a little Fiat A50 Abarth. There you go, Fiat Abarth 850 Spider. Got a Fiat Topolino, tiny little people's car. It's a Fiat 500C, early car. And there's the Topolino. You see, the top would come off. These are eligible for Mille Miglia. So you do see some of these beside these phenomenally expensive cars in the Mille Miglia, just because the Italians like to see their pedestrians, their more pedestrian cars, if I can say that without it being an oxymoron, represented.